Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we attempt to make sense of the chaos that is corporate finance. And today we're wading into the fascinating world of Lottery.com Inc. Because let me tell you, their latest report involves some interesting moves that make you wonder, what are they really up to before we dive in? If you love getting straight to the point with no corporate fluff, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to chat with us and other finance enthusiasts, the link to our Discord community is in the description below. So what is the big news? Lottery.com Incorporated, or as we'll call them, the company, has signed a major deal. It is called a Securities Purchase Agreement with Evergreen Capital Management, LLC. Think of it as the company saying, we need cash, and Evergreen saying, we have cash. Let's make a deal. This happened on the 2nd of December, 2025. The heart of this agreement is a special kind of loan called a Senior Secured Convertible Promissory Note. Basically, Evergreen is lending the company a lot of money, specifically $2,875,000 US, which is quite a chunk. But here is where it gets a bit interesting. This loan comes with something called an original issue discount. Or OID, this means the company receives less cash up front than the face value of the loan. In this case, there is a $375,000 US discount. So, while the note says they're borrowing nearly $2.9 million, the actual cash they're getting from Evergreen is $2,500,000. They say this discount is to cover Evergreen's costs for setting up this deal, like their legal and research expenses. Now, how does this money actually arrive? It is not all at once. On the day the deal closes, the 2nd of December 2025, Evergreen will hand over $500,000 US. That is a good start. But the real kicker comes later. The remaining $2 million US are tied to some important conditions. First, the shares that can be created from this loan need to be officially registered, meaning they can be sold to the public. Second, and this is big, Lottery.com needs to get approval from its shareholders. This is because the number of shares they might have to issue through this loan is quite large, potentially 20% or more of their total outstanding shares. This often means they need a thumbs up from the folks who own pieces of the company. So this second part of the money flow is conditional on regulatory and shareholder approval. The company is using a specific legal pathway to make this deal happen, one that doesn't require extensive public filing up front, claiming it falls under an exemption for private offerings. Basically, they're saying this deal is with a sophisticated investor, Evergreen, under specific rules that allow for a quicker, less public transaction. Let's quickly look at how Lottery.com S stock is traded. Their common stock, which has a very tiny value of $0.001 per S hair, trades under the symbol SEG on the Nasdaq stock market, LLC. They also have warrants which are like options to buy stock. These particular warrants, trading as LTRU on Nasdaq, allow someone to buy one share of their common stock for a hefty price of $2,300. That is a very high exercise price, suggesting these warrants might be for a different context or perhaps represent a significant future value expectation. Interesting to note, Lottery.com is identifying itself as an emerging growth company. This means they can take advantage of certain relaxed regulatory requirements. The main point of this filing, as you can see from the title, is about the company entering into a significant agreement, what we've been discussing. Now, every company does this. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, they include a section called forward-looking statements. This is essentially a legal disclaimer. They're saying, hey, we might say things today about the future, but please don't hold us to them if things change. The future is uncertain, especially in the volatile world of startups and tech. They list out a bunch of risks, from accounting control reviews and needing more money to talking with Nasdaq about their stock price and making sure they file everything on time with the SEC. It is a pretty standard SIA section, but it does highlight that they are facing quite a few challenges. Under their exhibits, we see the actual securities purchase agreement with Evergreen Capital Management, LLC, listed as Exhibit 10.6. Oh, this is the document with all the legal fine print. And finally, signing off on this report is Robert Stubblefield, who is currently the Interim Chief Executive Officer. This is another sign that the leadership at Lottery.com has been in flux, which can sometimes coincide with significant financial transactions. So, what is the story here? Lottery.com is in a position where they clearly need capital to keep operating and move forward. They've secured a significant loan with conditions that hinge on future events like stock registration and shareholder approval. This isn't unexpected for companies in their situation, trying to grow in a competitive market. The high exercise price on those warrants also makes you wonder about their long-term strategy and how they value future growth. On the one hand, getting this funding with Evergreen is a positive step in securing operational cash flow. It shows there are investors willing to back them even with the stated risks. On the other hand, the reliance on shareholder approval and official registration for the full funding highlights potential hurdles ahead. The fact that they are an emerging growth company means they have some breathing room, but they also need to address Nasdaq's listing requirements, which can include minimum stock bid prices. Looking at this, Lottery.com seems to be in a critical phase, trying to stabilize and fund its operations while navigating regulatory and investor expectations. The key will be how quickly they can satisfy those conditions for the full funding and how effectively they can use this capital to drive their business forward and meet ongoing compliance requirements. It is a tightrope walk, and their ability to secure that next tranche of funding and satisfy Nasdaq will be crucial for their survival and growth. Alright, that is our deep dive into Lottery.com, S latest filing. What is your take on this deal and what it signals for the company's future? Do you think they can meet those conditions for the full funding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown useful, please give this video a like, it really helps us out, and subscribe for more of these corporate decoder sessions. And don't forget to join our Discord community. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.